Hey there, Tamir from FIBONACCI'S.com here with the weekly market recap. Interesting week, inside candles all across the board, mostly. So without further ado, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, will be much appreciated. Let's see the charts. We will go over all the charts on the weekly time frame. End of the week, always zoom out for the bigger picture to get a better point of view of price action. And as we can see, SPY, weekly doji, inside candle, there is no greater signal for indecision in the market. So what do? We wait for next week, next candle to show us the way. Are we going down to retest this yellow trend line as support and maybe even the 394, or can we get continuation to the upside? And we have here a slightly small gap at the 420 and maybe even 424. No one knows. All we can do is follow price, use levels and trend lines to manage our risk. QQQ. Not surprising, same thing, inside candle, doji, below the 308, 310 area, looking left, very strong resistance this area, so also now, second week in a row, strong resistance. Now all we have to do is sit tight and wait for next week to show us price action direction. To the downside, we have 288, yellow trend line, white trend line, yellow trend line, 265, 269, sorry. And to the upside, breaking above the 310 area, we can assume with high probability on the weekly time frame, 325 and maybe 343. Once again, no one knows. All we can do is sit tight, follow price, and manage our risk. This is the only thing we have full control of as traders, managing risk. Dow Jones, 3 weeks in a row, indecision. And if we look further back, we can say that since November 2022, we have 333 to the downside, 343 and 346 to the upside, and price is basically jumping up and down, very tight price range on the Dow Jones. All we have to do is wait and prepare for both sides. We have this area as a very strong resistance. Breaking up, we can assume that this area will be the next resistance, and if 333 to the downside will fail to hold 322, and maybe if this one will fail to hold, we have all these levels to the downside and we have a potential double top. Always prepare for both sides. IWM, inside weekly, but 190 is holding as support. It was since April 2022, it was a very strong resistance for price, except 2 weeks here. And now it needs to hold as support, failing to hold 179 to the downside, breaking above the 200, and we will have 210. Something happened to my mouse, sorry about that. Technical issues with my mouse. VIX, after a very steep downtrend from the 3480 all the way to this yellow trend line, and this yellow trend line held the higher lows since December 17, also here December 19, also here June and October 2021, and now once again VIX is trying to bounce off this yellow trend line. 2160 is the resistance. Let's see where VIX is taking us. If VIX goes up, we can assume SPY, Qs, and all the rest will go down. The US 10-year bonds yield, we have, for now, lower highs, lower lows. As bulls, we need this trend line to hold as resistance. We have the 353 holding as support because it was a very strong resistance in the past month or so. Now breaking up above. Let's see if this trend line will break to the upside. If so, 382 and maybe even back to the 4. We do have here some kind of a double bottom. If this double bottom will validate, 434 is in the cards. Dollar index bouncing off this white trend line. As you can see, support here, and now once again support. Second week in a row, green on the dollar index. 104.45 is the next resistance, and as bulls we need this to hold and push price back to the downside. Oil, crude, if you're following me on Twitter, you know this trend line. I have posted this trend line already few weeks back, and this trend line is holding the higher lows on crude oil. Also here, March 21, November 21, and here during December. And now once again, price is trying to bounce. 80 is a very strong resistance for price, breaking up and above 87, and 93 are next potential strong resistance. Before we move on to Apple, Google, SMH, AMD, Nvidia, and more, would appreciate it if you take a second, hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now, Apple breaking above this trend line, this downtrend channel within a downtrend channel, breaking up 155, holding as a strong resistance. Doji inside candle, indecision. Let's see if Apple going back, retesting this trend line together with the 143, or can we get continuation to the upside all the way towards this white trend line that holds the lower highs since December 2021. Google, AI, no AI, trend lines are the true support resistance for price action. And as we said last week, we said if Google will fail to break this trend line to the upside, it will go to the downside. And here we are, back to the downside. Now we can take Fibonacci. We have swing low, swing high. And now we have, you can take also this one here. Doesn't really matter. It only gives us potential support and resistance. Very accurate, if I might say. If you take also this one, you can see downtrend, bounce, and now 94.80, which was a very strong support, now also acting as support. Let's see if it holds. If it will not hold, we can expect with high probability that this trend line over here will get retested once again. SMH, we said 250 will be a tough one for the bulls, and it is. Doji, second week in a row, failing to close above the 250 area. Doji, inside candle, indecision. Let's see if after this run to the upside, will we get some cool off towards the 230? If 230 fails to hold, high probability 220 and 214 to the downside. AMD breaking last week, broke up and above very aggressively to the upside above this trend line. Now cooling off with an inside candle, on the weekly. Now, two scenarios. Going back to retest this trend line as support, or continuation to the upside with 94.40 as the next resistance. Nvidia, after a very nice bull run to the upside, 230. Why? Look left. Resistance, support, resistance. Doji, 207 needs to hold, otherwise we have all these levels to the downside, and this trend line that will get retested as support, or can we get a break up and above the 230 towards 264, 300, and maybe 314. Never be biased, guys and girls. Never be biased. Always prepare for both sides. Netflix still in an uptrend, but after a run from 273 all the way to 380, now we had this doji last week. Now we have a weekly to the downside. 335 needs to hold, otherwise high probability that this lower trend line will get retested. Shopify, another one, inside candle, maybe going to the downside, retesting the 43 area, because as you remember, and if you're following me here and on Twitter, we said that the 43 was a very strong resistance and we waited to take long, and now it might go retest this 43 area as support. If this one fails to hold, we have this slight gap at the 40.80, and we know that more than 80% of all gaps will get filled throughout time. Microsoft broke to the upside to 74. Price got rejected. Why? Look left. Don't even need Fibonacci. Put the crosshair here. Look left. Put a line. And here we are. No other indicators are needed. Why price got rejected over here? Look left. Not surprising. Resistance, support, 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 resistance. Boom. Resistance. Now, let's see if this trend line will hold as support. Otherwise, going back to the downside. Now we can take Fibonacci. We can from here to here, 260, 250, 241, and if you want to be more accurate, up or back up. And now you see that this 276 is also the 50% retracement Fibonacci level. Not surprising. Fibonacci, trend lines, and price action. Not necessarily in this order. Tesla, after a very nice run since the low, the 100s, all the way to the 200, and we said, you can check previous videos, the 204 will be a very strong resistance and a tough level for bulls to break up and above, and they broke up and above but got rejected. Why? Look left. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is it. This is not rocket science. It's only technical analysis. Why price is now where it is? Looking left, and we can see support, support, and now resistance. That's it. Meta went all the way to the 191, got rejected inside week. Now let's see if we will get a pullback towards this orange trend line that held as resistance and now might get retested as support. Bitcoin on the weekly, not looking good. 21,600 needs to hold. Looking left, if it made it this one here, similar price section here, and if it will continue the similarity like this one, we will go back and retest this trend line over here and maybe even the 19400. Ethereum, same goes. We are talking about the 1680 area as a very strong resistance area since few weeks back. Look left. Now you understand why 1680 is a very strong resistance. 1410 is the next support. And Amazon, basically moving sideways. Nothing special on Amazon. Bouncing between the 93 and the 102. Let's see what's going on with Amazon later this year. Maybe it will also add some kind of an AI presentation or Amazon AI to get into the AI hype. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, help me grow this channel. Will be much appreciated. And don't forget to check my Fibonacci-Traders Academy. 18 videos, 20 minutes or less, on how to improve our trading, technical side, mental side, and each and every week more and more videos will be added to this academy. Until the next video, stay safe.